For more than 130 years, Bosch has designed products that spark enthusiasm, improve quality of life, and help conserve natural resources. We have built our reputation on design, quality, reliability, trust, and sustainability. In short, we want to create technology that is invented for life. With more than 200 international design awards attained over the past 5 years, Bosch is the clear leader in home appliances. Outstanding design requires both great form and function. For home appliances, invented for life means giving people peace of mind for their daily life at home.
Field is made.
Made for the contemporary.
Made for imagination.
Made for style.
Fielder's Made. Made for inspiration.
When it's time to build on quality that's proven in Australia's harsh environment. Build on Lysart, steel roofing and walling. Style. Experience. Excellence. You have it all when you choose Lysart, steel roofing and walling. Insist on the best. Insist on Lysart.
Established in 1974, Alspec is the market leader in the design and distribution of innovative aluminium systems across Australia. Aluminium is strong, lightweight and 100% recyclable. Alspec is committed to sustainability and building Australia's future.
Now you can easily bring your projects to life with Dulux BIM Solutions. Dulux BIM Solutions provides easy-to-use BIM content, so you can add Dulux colours and product ranges to your Revit and ArchiCAD models quickly and simply. The latest Dulux BIM content update now includes the Dulux World of Colour and product ranges from Dulux powder coatings, protective coatings, Acrotex and Intergrain timber finishes. Dulux BIM Solutions, inspiring creativity.
You know, the sun comes up every day, so if something happened to you that day, you know, the next day is going to be a new day and you just start off fresh. So that's one of the reasons why that summer sun colour is also good for me, but it's also the centre of our Aboriginal flag. So being able to share my culture through my art is something that I want to do, and teaching, you know, my daughters and my kids how to continue to do that as well.
Out on the patio, we'd sit Australia.
Righto, settle down. Take your seats. Don't sit on the water. There's a couple of seats down the front, I think, if anyone's looking. Neil? Okay, I think we're all parked. So, good evening and welcome to the 2022 National Architecture Awards. Yeah, all right. About bloody time we're back here. I'm Peter Madison, a practicing architect, and I've been immersed in the profession happily for 30 years, and it's my great honour to be your host this evening as we celebrate the work of the Australian Institute of Architects members. I'd like to thank Wellingari for the awesome didgeridoo outside. And now to perform a welcome to country, could you please welcome Susan Moylan from the Guy Maragall Group.
Thank you. I'd like to start by saying Warami, Nagaya Susan, Nagaya Garinji Wawunga, Gumada Bianga, Gumada Waranga, Madamarong Tianaga Anaga, Madamarong Balia, Kamarago, Guri Pemel. So what I said was, hello, I'm Susan. I'm Garinji Wawunga. With deep honour and respect, I ask to speak to the male spirits, I ask to speak to the female spirits, for all of us to be able to walk and talk and tonight be able to celebrate your award ceremony on Camaragal land. So as a First Nations person originally from the Northern Territory, it is my duty to actually acknowledge country. To be able to welcome to country, you need to have bloodline and ancestry to country. So as part of the stolen generation, I got brought here to the Northern Beaches and have grown up here, so it's my duty to acknowledge. I'd also like to acknowledge other First Nations people in the room and say that we are the oldest living culture on the planet, and we're really proud of that. And we hope in the work that you do that you can be able to connect to country, be able to care for country, and be able to design with country. Because at the end of the day, you're all building things on top of country. So being able to understand what the lay of the land is, what is the cultural spirit of place, and how you can connect with that, not only for the landscape, but also the people who are connected to it. And in that way, I hope that buildings have good design, good form and function, and for us to be able to see ourselves in those spaces as well. So on behalf of the community here in the Northern Sydney region, the other thing that I should say too is that I'm a part of the Taronga Aboriginal Advisory Group. So on behalf of the Zoo, it's lovely that you're having your awards here tonight, and I wish all of the nominees well. Thank you.
Thank you, Susan. And I also would like to acknowledge and pay my respects to elders past, present and emerging. While we're gathered this evening at Taronga Zoo, I'd like to extend a warm welcome to everyone watching the live stream TV tonight. And as for all you sitting in this room, it's no secret that 5 lions escaped here just yesterday. Perhaps knowing there was a bunch of architects coming tonight. Well, the good news is my wife and I arrived early. We did a recce of the lions' enclosure just this afternoon, and we saw no architect bones lying around, which means you're all here and we can get on with the show. Firstly, I'd like to thank the Institute's national corporate partners for their ongoing support of the Institute and the National Awards program. BlueScope, Taubmans, SMEG, Dulux, Allspec, Brickworks, Bondor, Meccano, Lysart, Fielders, Bosch, Plan Cover and Architecture Media. To get the evening underway with the first announcement of the night, the National Emerging Architect Prize, I'd like to hand over to the Institute's National President, Shannon Battison.
Well, I made it up without tripping over, so that's the first step for the evening. Thank you so much, Peter, and thank you to Susan for her very warm acknowledgement of country. What a wonderful thing to be able to come together tonight on the lands of the Eora Nation at the beautiful Taronga Zoo. I'll admit to being quite relieved that the lions are back in their enclosure and hopefully not going to make a surprise appearance. I am so very grateful that we've been able to come together again for the first time in several years to celebrate what has been an incredible year for the built environment. Architecture as a profession is as important now as it has ever been. As we look for the solutions that will help us face the climate crisis and navigate life in a post-pandemic world, I hope we can do so from a place where our many and varied voices come together to be the leaders of our communities so desperately need. As we all know, architecture has the power to provide shelter, to provide healthy environments to work and play, and potentially the most important of all, to create spaces that bring people together, to celebrate the joy that is equitable, diverse community. As we start to re-emerge from the pandemic, the ability for our public spaces to support connection is important like never before. Our public architecture is our public living room. The space left in between is our collective backyard. Let's make it a space where all people are welcome and celebrated. So, on to the evening and the task at hand, announcing the first award of the evening, the National Emerging Architect Prize. This prize is given to the demographic who will be the leaders of tomorrow and celebrates the varied forms that a career in architecture can take. It is my very great pleasure to announce that the 2022 National Emerging Architect Prize goes to Daniel Moore.
Daniel Moore is awarded the 2022 National Emerging Architect Prize in recognition of his unending dedication to advancing the role of the architect in society. Daniel's practice of architecture is expansive, reaching architects and non-architects alike. He is a great example of how a genuine passion for design and the built environment can be used to improve outcomes widely, and how a career in architecture can take many forms beyond that of traditional practice. Daniel's actions and leadership have created a platform from which the entire profession can gain leverage and benefit, and his legacy will extend beyond his own built work to provide a voice for the architectural community in Australia. Congratulations, Daniel Moore.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't know. I spend so much time trying to advocate for architects and the beautiful work that they do for their clients who want to live and work in beautiful spaces, in sublime environments that can actually make their day-to-day better. And it's kind of weird that I'm getting this award because every single person that I advocate for and put on the podcast and want to work with, I'm just in awe of. And it's kind of amazing that I'm in this room with so many of my heroes. So, yeah, just thank you so much. And, I just love all the work that all of you do. I don't think I kind of deserve this in a way. And also thank you so much to all the other people who are the state winners of the Emerging Architect Prize. I think you're absolutely incredible. We're only here because people mentored us to where we are now. And I hope you continue to mentor people who are young and emerging and have bright eyes and looking at blue sky projects. I was fired from Breathe 3 times, but that means that I was rehired twice. So, not everyone has that straight trajectory, and but it's because, Jeremy and so many other people in my career believed in me that I'm here now. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Daniel, and thanks, Shannon. Such an important initiative, that award. Tonight is the culmination of the Australian Institute of Architects 2022 program of the 9 State Award Chapters programs held earlier this year. All of the award and named award-winning projects were eligible for consideration by the national jury. And having been on the national jury myself, I understand the huge amount of work and time that is required. Discussing, visiting projects around the country, wrangling consensus and writing citations. This year, it was chaired by the Institute's immediate past national president, Tony Giannone. The jury included Caroline Pidcock, Director of Pidcock, Poppy Taylor, Founding Director of Taylor and Hinds, Adrian Iredale, Director of Iredale Pedersen Hook Architects, and Tim Ross, Director of Moderniser Films. So if you'd all please me in thanking them for their time and effort. So from the field of 184 eligible projects, the jury shortlisted some 85, which we'll see in the nominee rolls this evening. To be shortlisted for a National Architectural Award, it is in itself a high honour indeed. So congratulations to all the practices in their running this evening, and good luck. And to give us a sense of the task the jury faced this year, I'd like to welcome to the stage 2022 National Jury Chair, Tony Giannone. And Tony tutored me in the pronunciation of his surname.
Yeah, but you forgot Antonio as the lead-up. We'll be fine. Look, welcome everybody, and it's really great just to have everybody together again. I think this is like a 3-year hiatus, and just see everybody in the room. I think this event sold out within about 2 or 3 days, and I think that's just a credit to everybody just to support it. So from the bottom of my heart, I just thank everybody in terms of doing that. Also, just a warm welcome, I think, to our National Council's board members, and Peter Hobbs is our board chair, in terms of the contributions that actually just come back in terms of making the Institute function. It's a thankless task in many regards, and almost faceless people in terms of what they do, but a lot of what we do and the awards, etc., and the programs that go through this is really a result of the dedication of those people to get us to where we are tonight. Having rolled up at the zoo yesterday morning, I think there was an unconfirmed rumour that a past Prime Minister had let the lions out when he found out that the Australian Institute of Architects were having the awards celebration here tonight. So anyway, I'll just leave that one there because I'm not sure where that's going to go. I know this is being live streamed, so hello, Paul. Okay. As the immediate past National President of the Australian Institute of Architects, it was an immense privilege and an honour to chair the National Awards jury. Diversity of experience and practice within the jury is vital to achieving equity, relevance and breadth in the selection of winning and commended projects. Fantastic jury this year. We're comprised of, as Pete said, Adrian Iredale from Western Australia, Poppy Taylor, Tasmania, Caroline Pidcock from New South Wales, and our own moderniser, Tim Ross. We approached this enormous task with some trepidation and a sense of humility. We'd like to acknowledge the generosity of clients who allowed us into their homes and their projects, sharing personal stories and recognising the impact that architects have had on their lives. Every awards program helps us build a portfolio of work that is representative of Australian identity in an urban and regional context, and I think we need to celebrate that. The Institute's highly valued peer-reviewed awards program is a significant undertaking. The jury covered some 12,000 kilometres over a 12-day journey, visiting 67 projects across Australia, beginning the day on a snowy mountain or snowy morning in Hobart and ending up in poolside in Brisbane that evening at about midnight. Despite the demands of juggling families, school holidays, practice and 12-hour schedules, the tour was a fantastic and rewarding journey and really a highlight of my career, and I'm sure that sentiment has been resounded by everybody on that jury. Sincere thanks to Abby. I'm not sure where you are, Abby, but put your hands up, please, for keeping us in line with cancelled flights, midnight arrivals, schedules, reschedules. So altitude 11,000 metres, airspeed 840 and time to destination 40 minutes became the reference point for a few weeks. Plus $600 in speeding fines, 4 demerit points and a few parking tickets. Tim, you owe me. As we celebrate this year's awards, never has the adage of a moment in time been more relevant. The jury tour gave us an insight into projects completed during COVID-19 lockdowns and amid a period of general reflection of what it is important to be as a society. Relevant to the interrupted timelines of the last few years and regarding the new flexibility in the way we live and work and play was an evident change in density and a visual emptiness in the workplace. The residential category, especially in the alterations and additions sector, spoke to our connection to landscape and integration with architecture. Although the cost of some of these projects tend to put them in an exclusive realm. Social and affordable housing is more reliant on government contributions, and the reality of cost control often means the sacrifice of amenity. I think there's an emerging aesthetic and program in these projects that the jury found inequitable. The current economic climate will only add further to these pressures. In the public domain, it was pleasing to observe the increasing significance of buildings with a public ethos. Many presentations highlighted the relationship of the building to its community rather than the architecture. The jury was heartened by this return to social values and the importance of the architect in society. Presentation by architects and their clients expressed a welcome casualness in the way we live now. The jury commends the breakdown of barriers and notions of transparency in planning of all categories. The front yard is no longer the front yard. It's whatever you want it to be. And it's really going to mess around with the policymakers' brains in terms of how they respond. The world is urgently calling for architects to reshape the built environment and to help reduce emissions and deal positively with climate change. While this is not yet a criterion for these awards, and they should be, and it's an ongoing point in terms of our National Council meeting this week, and thanks to Carolyn for this input as well. So, the leaders of our profession are seizing on this responsibility as an opportunity and finding inspiration for their work. We celebrate those who are already on this path and showcasing some of the wide-ranging ideas for the future. But we note there is much to do in this area, having regard to our social environmental responsibilities. I often remind myself that as a profession, we are in a privileged position to have the opportunity to design spaces for people. Our built forms and spatial creations are always a backdrop that influence people's way of life and beliefs. It's not something we should take for granted. As we navigate our way to a better understanding of First Nations' concept of country and our responsibility to consider nature and other species equally in our work, or species, we're impressed by many designers' efforts to integrate the designing with country principles. But once again, we've got a lot of work to do. Along the journey, we encountered some special moments, none more captivating than the visit to the Walkley House by Robin Boyd in Adelaide. Encapsulating the true meaning of enduring, the home is now housing to its 4th generation of the Walkley family. And as we found out on that visit, there was a little baby born a couple of weeks ago in the house because they didn't quite make it to the hospital. Just some of the beautiful stuff that you encounter on this journey. I understand that there will be much deliberation, critique, and perhaps some disappointment tonight. Awards judging inevitably has a subjective lens, and as a national jury, we acknowledge that all the projects listed are already winners in each of their states and are celebrated within their own communities. That is a huge achievement, and you should all celebrate that in their own right. The jury congratulates all the entrants for putting forward their work and advocating for design integrity in the Australian landscape. The presentations and the storytelling we encountered were passionate, and I think that truly captures the spirit of Australian architecture. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. And if I could ask you to stay there, please. It'd be great because Anthony's going to present the award certificates in the first two categories. That would be great, thanks. Now, we'll see, we have two stages here tonight, so I'll run through the logistics on how the presentation will run. If you receive a national commendation this evening, please enjoy the applause from your seat. Your certificate will be available for collection when the formalities conclude. No need to get up. If you receive a national award, please make your way to the other stage where Tony is standing while the video citation is playing to collect your certificate and then head back to your seat. And if you receive a named national award this evening, the highest honour in each category, please come up to the other stage as the citation is playing to collect your certificate, and we'd like you to say a few words at the lectern. Now, by saying a few words, I mean a few words, about a minute, as we have a very big night ahead of us. And a note for everyone, there will not be taking of photos on stage tonight. However, the photographer will be over at the media wall after the show and invite you all and your teams to head over once the formalities are over. Whether you are an award winner or not, you're welcome to join that photographic session. And now let's kick off the announcements with the first category, commercial architecture. Here are the 7 projects shortlisted by the national jury.
Constitution Place by Bates Smart. 52 Reservoir Street by SJB. The Foundry by Lead FJMT Studio, FJMT Studio and Sissons, Architects in Association to DA. Timber Tower by Kirk. Spring Bay Mill, Ridge Quarters by Gilby and Bruin Architecture. 405 Burke Street by Woods Bagot. And Queen and Collins by KTA and BVN.
7 great projects. We have 2 announcements to make in this category. A national award for commercial architecture goes to Queen and Collins by KTA and BVN.
Queen and Collins is a delicately resolved, inventive model for the treatment of the interaction of various commercial buildings. The project unravels and exposes the generational design layers of the spaces between the buildings, while simultaneously granting clarity and identity to each of the contributory buildings at multiple levels. Congratulations, KTA and BVN.
Indeed, congratulations. And the highest honour in this category, the named award, the Harry Seidler Award for Commercial Architecture, goes to 52 Reservoir Street by SJB.
An intricate and detailed insertion into the cultural streetscapes of Surrey Hills, this project simulates simplicity through a highly resolved design. Responding to the expectations and needs of today's workplace, the street and its precinct neighbours, its communal facilities serve to connect its tenants. A scalloped street facade of glazed bricks shimmers in a sublime response to its location, offering transparency across the floor plate while maintaining the street language. Congratulations, SJB.
Thank you. I'm really fucking nervous, I should say. I just want to, first of all, acknowledge the traditional owners of the land. I think we really underestimate the contribution that their knowledge has to our capacity to deliver a better place. So I look forward to us really embracing that as we go forward. I think it's really nice to see you all, firstly. It's really nice to be here and to just see familiar faces for the first time in a long time. And I think one of the most remarkable things I think about finishing a building is actually at the end of it is the relationships. And to our client, Michael, who's over here tonight, Michael has become an exceptional friend, and I think this is the third architectural award we've won together, but he is a total visionary and is the only client to ever make me cry in the office. He's made me cry once in the office. But it's because of his passion, and I think really, Michael, thank you. To everyone else, it's really surprising. To the jury, thank you very much. It's really, really unexpected. But yeah, thank you very much. Thanks.
Stay there, Tony. Congratulations, SJB. And now to the work of the Institute's members overseas. Each of the projects that received an International Chapter Architectural Award was considered by the national jury. Let's take a look at the nominees.
Commercial Bay to Toki Itarangi by Warren and Marnie with Woods Bagot and NH Architecture. Tianyu Experimental School by BAU Architects and Urbanists. And Yuangdong Bridge by Brearley Architects and Urbanists, BAU.
Projects. The jury has given an architectural award for international architecture to Yuangdong Bridge, Brearley Architects and Urbanists, BAU.
Yuandong Bridge is an evolved geometric concept that interacts rather than transcends from landing to landing. Journeys can be simple and direct, or they can be playful and interactive, persuading you to pause and explore. This project is more of an experience than a lineal passage and makes a significant social contribution to its site. On top of the infrastructural engineering required, this complex work highlights the value of progressive design. Congratulations, Brearley Architects and Urbanists, BAU.
And James is, I understand, James Brearley's overseas getting ready for the World Architecture Awards, but if I could ask Grant Amon to take that award to his friend James so he doesn't have to come up here and get it himself. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. You can take a seat. And I'd like to welcome National Juror Adrian Iredale to take your place on the stage to say a few words and present the award certificates for the next two categories, urban design and educational architecture. Adrian, over to you.
Great. Thank you, Peter. I promise 60 seconds. I'm not very good at keeping time. Participating on the national jury is both an honour, privilege and a conundrum. The conundrum is the result of experiencing formidable, exceptional quality architecture and a diverse approach to architecture. There is no singular approach to architecture in this country. We collectively and actively celebrate the particularities and peculiarities of place and country. As Tony mentioned, this was no more evident in one day when we travelled from near zero conditions in Tasmania to swimming conditions and bathing conditions in Brisbane. Every project on this shortlist has been celebrated and should be celebrated. Every project sensitively engaged with local conditions, culture, climate, and the intimacy of brief. We embrace projects that extended the realm of architecture, generously offering more to the public than the brief suggested, and optimistically validating the importance of our profession especially at a time when we're being unnecessarily challenged and beaten up. This was particularly evident in our urban responses, where teams of architects, landscape architects, artists, planners, developers, local authorities were intimately working together to extend the offerings to the community. We no longer operate under the shadow of European urbanism. Australia has created a unique urban realm embedded with stories, discovery, ancient and young culture, intimacy and togetherness. It is time for other countries to now learn from us. And now let's take a look at the 7 shortlisted projects in urban design.
Bendigo TAFE City Campus Revitalisation by Architectus with 6 Degrees Architects and SBLA Landscape Architects. Queen and Collins by KTA and BVN. Newcastle East End by SJB in collaboration with Durback Block Jaggers, Tonkinzilaka Greer and Aspect Studios. Parramatta Escarpment Boardwalk by Hill Fallis Architecture and Urban Projects with McGregor Westlake and Jane Irwin Landscape Architecture. Key Quarter Lanes by SJB, Sylvester Fuller, Studio Bright, Carter Williamson, Lipman Partnership and Aspect Studios. Riverside Green, Southbank Parklands by Hassel. And Walyalup Civic Centre by Kerry Hill Architects, KHA.
A great diverse shortlist, and the jury was clearly impressed as we have 4 announcements. A national commendation for urban design is awarded to Riverside Green Southbank Parklands by Hassel. And congratulations, Hassel. And the jury have also awarded a national commendation for urban design to Newcastle East End by SJB in collaboration with Durback Block Jaggers, Tonkinzilaka Greer and Aspect Studios. Congratulations, teams. A national award for urban design goes to Walyalup Civic Centre by Kerry Hill Architects.
The Walyalup Civic Centre is a beautifully designed building that is effortless in its simplicity, a place that is intuitive to enjoy and welcoming to its community. The resolution of a complex program allows public access through the building at varying times over multiple levels in a manner that lifts expectations and then delivers. The jury noted that the north-facing shaded grass terrace is already home to several community events, music and theatre performances, lots of lunches and even a few political protests. Fremantle residents are making it their own. Congratulations, Kerry Hill Architects, KHA.
And the highest honour in this category, the named award, the Walter Burley Griffin Award for Urban Design, goes to Key Quarters Lanes by SJB, Sylvester Fuller, Studio Bright, Carter Williamson, Lipman Partnership and Aspect Studios.
This project masterfully captures the best of Sydney urbanism and succinctly creates a sensitive and confident city in microcosm. The national jury note that materiality and formal language builds on context, both past and existing, creating clear and precise connections with a subtle inventiveness that will endure over time. Congratulations, SJB, Sylvester Fuller, Studio Bright, Carter Williamson, Lipman Partnership and Aspect Studios.
Well, clearly we don't have a big enough stage. I'm going to have a nominated person. Thank you.
Okay, this is the only non-architect in this group giving a speech. But urban design is a collective pursuit, so the city ideally is the beneficiary of this. So, as you can see, complexity did not hold us back. It was a collaborative effort from all of the architects, designers on this, with an amazing client who really pushed us, I think, in a wonderful balance between competition and let us do our thing, and that was A&P Capital. I should also recognise the wonderful work of Jonathan Jones, the artist who collaborated with most of us in... and there's an incredible story of Arabanu, which is woven into the fabric of that place down in Key Quarter in Sydney. So thank you very much to the jury. We are all mates after this, as you can see. It was a beautiful process. So thank you to the jury. Appreciate it.
What a terrific collaboration, and congratulations to the Key Quarters Lanes teams. Moving on to the educational architecture, where the national jury shortlisted 5 projects. Let's take a look at the nominees.
ANU Birch Building Refurbishment by Hassel. Andrew N. Liveris Building by Lyons and M3 Architecture. Brisbane South State Secondary College by BVN. Shopfront for Youth Performance and Art by Stephen Collier Architects. And Ultimo Public School by Designing Sydney, Lacoste and Stevenson and BMC2, Architects in Association.
What a great field there. And we have 3 announcements to make tonight. The jury have awarded a national commendation for educational architecture to Ultimo Public School by Designing Sydney, Lacoste and Stevenson, and BMC2 Architects in Association. A National Architecture Award for Educational Architecture goes to ANU Birch Building Refurbishment by Hassel.
The work by Hassel on this significant and very large ANU building has restored and celebrated its significant heritage and transformed its amenity, comfort and energy use. Most importantly for this category, however, Hassel has radically changed the ability of the building to support best practice education and research in a highly effective and thoroughly contemporary setting. Congratulations, Hassel.
Well done, Hassel. And the jury have awarded the highest honour that can be bestowed in this category, the named award, the Darryl Jackson Award for Educational Architecture, to Brisbane South State Secondary College by BVN.
This project masterfully creates connections to place that fluctuate between distant visual connections and close physical connections. External movement spaces are shaded, ventilated and effectively developed to encourage informal meeting and learning opportunities. Interior spaces allow for flexibility of use, creating short and long-term viability that is responsive and adaptable to a variety of teaching methods. Congratulations, BVN.
Gosh, I wish this didn't happen so I didn't have to stand up here to say anything. Unexpected, thank you very much. I think simply it's to say thank you to the wonderful clients that made this project what it is. Alyssa Underhill, Brad Cotterill, and Kirsten Ferdinands and the leadership team, and mostly of all Denzel Hirsch, who I'd like to acknowledge, who went through it thick and thin and probably made the project what it is today. So thank you.
Congratulations, BVN. And thank you, Adrian. You've already sat down, that's good. I'd now like to welcome National Juror Tim Ross to the stage to say a few words and present the next 3 categories, starting with Enduring Architecture. Over to you, Tim.
Peter, thank you. Thank you. Tony, I forgot about the parking, the speeding fines. Thank you for taking those hits for me. You're a beautiful man. I can take my children to school tomorrow because of you. Your heart as big as Farlup, mate. Beautiful, thank you. It was very nice of you to ask me to come on the jury. At the time, it was, I thought, 12 days of seeing buildings and getting on the squirt with you would have been fantastic. But then just before I started, I gave up drinking. So I've done some sums on it, and I think I've saved the Institute about $3,000 on that trip. So you will know that in these on television and films, you know, that famous movie 12 Angry Men, you know, there's always one person in the jury that has a different voice and stands up right to the end and fights and turns everyone around. I'm letting you know that I wasn't that person. Unless, of course, you're the winner. It was all me. So it's a pleasure. It's just the first one here was the Enduring Architecture Award. And I always think that our best buildings always just, and we'll see some of them tonight, obviously, they rattle ahead. They race ahead of us, waiting for us to catch up with them in some ways. And they're so important to us because they remind us of our potential. They're not just a moment in time. They're reminders of our potential and the beauty that architecture can give to us. So let's take a look at the winning projects across each state and territory across the country.
Christchurch Grammar School Chapel by Hobbs, Winning and Leeton and With Architects. Clarence Council Chambers by Bush, Parks, Shug and Moon. Cregan House by Alan Powell. Harry Gibbs Building Commonwealth Law Courts by Australian Construction Services in association with Heddlethorpe Architects. Manning Clark House by Robin Boyd. Walkley House by Robin Boyd. And Woolley Hesketh House by Ken Woolley.
And of the shortlisted projects, the jury has awarded the National Award for Enduring Architecture to Woolley Hesketh House by Ken Woolley.
Ken Woolley had a knack for making the most of a difficult site. Situated below street level, this modest-sized home comprises a series of garden terraces, clinging to a steep and rocky bush block. It is defined by its rough-sawn timber beams, angle roofs, and classic Sydney School clinker bricks. Architecture books and lecture notes contain numerous descriptions of this house. Its impact goes beyond those who have lived in it, and the architects who have been inspired by it. As such, it is a most worthy recipient of the 2022 National Award for Enduring Architecture.
I'm Helen Lockhead. I'm an Emeritus Professor of Architecture and Urbanism from UNSW Sydney. And I'm so thrilled to receive this award on behalf of the university. First of all, I'd really like to thank Peter Mould for making this nomination on behalf of the university, but also to Tonkins Lacka Greer for doing a very sensitive and understated renovation of the building so that it maintains all the integrity of the original house. For me, Ken Woolley was the first architect I ever worked with, and I worked with him very closely, one-to-one. And so he was an incredible influence on my life. I worked on a number of competitions with him and then went on after graduation to work with him in his office for a period of time and then maintained a friendship with him throughout my life. So on a personal note, on a professional note, and on an institutional note, to actually impress on the university the importance of maintaining and bringing a building like this to life, it's an incredibly valuable and enduring award. So thank you.
Thank you, Helen, and it's a beautiful project by Ken Woolley, isn't it? The next category is small project architecture, where the jury shortlisted 4 projects. Let's have a look at those contenders.
Gathering Place by Penhale and Winter with Sandra Harbin. Long Beach Amenities by Preston Lane. The Dentist by Rob Kennan Architects. and The Sanctuary by Welsh and Major.
The jury have awarded a national commendation for small project architecture to Long Beach Amenities by Preston Lane. A national award for small project architecture goes to The Dentist by Rob Kennan Architects.
The Abbotsford Dentist practice is a delightful addition to the inner city suburban street, where it sits gently among Victorian terraces. Exquisitely detailed, the addition is so restrained it could almost be missed or assumed to have always been a part of the street. On closer inspection, the finely considered nature of the architectural elements becomes apparent, resulting in an even greater appreciation and respect for the design. The jury applauds the series of small moves that, when combined, create a wonderful example of what can be achieved with care and consideration. Congratulations, Rob Kennan Architects.
And the highest honour in this category, the named award, the Nicholas Murcutt Award for Small Project Architecture, is awarded to Gathering Place by Penhale and Winter and Sandra Harbin.
A pure expression of collaborative intentions between the architect and the Whadjuk people of the Noongar Nation, Gathering Place is a perfectly scaled, ephemeral civic work. As is so often the case with works of architecture, what commences as a simple brief ends as a spatial revelation. A seat in the shade of a tree becomes a single, continuous love letter to country. A thread of poetry engraved into the seat echoes the river, the serpent, the cosmos, and the scale of this work is simultaneously intimate and immense. Gathering Place is a subtle, considered architectural wonder, even in its ephemerality. Congratulations, Penhale and Winter with Sandra Harbin.
Well, this is quite a thrill. As you can tell, there's two of us here. Unfortunately, Sandra Harbin wasn't able to make it with us to the event tonight, but she was a major part of this project. The project essentially was born out of an extended conversation between us and Sandra, so much so that the project really changed and became a project born out of the location and conversations that we had on site. It's a project that was very short in duration. It was a project that was on site for 3 weeks only, and now sort of remains in the memories of those people who visited. And I think it's really at the polar end of, say, the Enduring Architects Award. And also it's very small in budget, so I think we ticked the box there. And Drew, come and save me here, please.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sandra, for your care and your generosity and your wisdom. Thanks to Tom and the Biennale crew, Craig Pedersen from ICS Australia, Dan Coley and Kieran Manane, our partners,
yes,
Mel and Gosha, who came across tonight. Thank you.
Congratulations to the team. Moving on to the heritage category, there are 7 projects in the running. Let's take a look at the project shortlist by national jury now.
ANU Birch Building refurbishment by Hassel. Building 8 RNA Showgrounds by Conrad Gargett. Dawn Fraser Baths by TKD Architects. Walsh Bay Arts Precinct by Tonkinselika Greer Architects. Hilton Melbourne Little Queen Street by Lovell Chen with Bates Smart. Wesley Place 130 Lonsdale by Lovell Chen with Cox Architecture. And The Hedberg by Liminal Architecture with Woha.
So, a National Award of Heritage is presented to ANU Birch Building Refurbishment by Hassel.
It is clear that the architects took the heritage significance of the Birch Building very seriously, but nevertheless have achieved an exemplary lightness in their work. This is best practice heritage architecture, which draws on a deep understanding, respect, and appreciation of the subject building, and using that energy to make architecture which is qualitatively equal to the original building, helping us to both understand and preserve. Congratulations, Hassel.
And the highest honour in this category, the Lachlan Macquarie Award for Heritage, goes to Walsh Bay Arts Precinct by Tonkin Zuleika Greer Architects.
Walsh Bay's Pier 2-3 cathedral-like spaces, originally built from vast amounts of timber from old-growth forests, once housed Australia's main shipping facilities of the early 20th century. Key moves, such as separating the internal spaces from the external building fabric and identifying the essence of the building and its surrounds, have allowed the various spaces' qualities to be enjoyed and celebrated. With its valuable timber resources and their locked-up carbon, Walsh Bay is now fit for another 100+ years of life for Sydney. Congratulations, Tonkin Zuleika Greer Architects.
Thank you all. It's a great honour. It was a great 7-year process, that project. I'd have to thank a whole bunch of people, but our client, Create New South Wales, and Richard Crooks Construction, the team at TZG, some of whom are here. But most of all, I think I would like to thank the 9 arts companies who are the tenants there at Walsh Bay, who were amazingly demanding, who wanted the absolute very best, who wanted superlative acoustics in a place where helicopters fly over the top, fire egress for massive events and a wharf over the water. And they wanted something beautiful, and I think in the end we achieved it, both through the original building and the new work, but it came out of the spirit of those companies who, as I say, demanded excellence at every step of the way. So thank you.
Congratulations once again to Tonkin Zuleika Greer, and thanks, Tim. The next 2 categories are sustainable architecture and interior architecture. And I'd like to invite National Juror Caroline Pidcock to present the award certificates and say a few words.
Thank you very much. What a privilege it has been experiencing the products of your collective ambitions and efforts in all the places we've visited. So thank you. And thank you to the jury. What fun we had. For the Sustainability Award, which I do hope will not be around much longer, as all entries to all awards will need to be sustainable. This year we chose to shine a light on the projects who are already demonstrating how beautiful places can be when they coax their brief into being good for not only the people, their clients, but all the parts of the systems that they're involved with. When the place is deeply understood and improved through their work, and when the ideas all of these ideas are addressed while bringing the essence of minimised amounts of good materials are brought to the fore. So, as we experience yet again the dramatic impacts of climate change across the world, we architects need to step up and into our agency to help design the future we need. Vincent Martinez, who's the President of Architecture 2030 and heading to COP27 as we speak, noted that he wants to highlight the impact the design industry has in decarbonising and increasing the resilience of the built environment. Governments can't meet aggressive global carbon reduction targets without the built environment. And designers have the most powerful lever to influence positive change upfront in the process, making bigger gains than can be achieved downstream. So in deference to Bucky Fuller, I look forward to seeing our profession creating a new regenerative future that is so desirable that the current consuming ways are made obsolete. So on that note, I'd just like to congratulate all of tonight's winners who are leading us in the direction we need to take. And now let's take a look at the 6 shortlisted for sustainable architecture projects.
Bundanon by Kirsten Thompson Architects. Live Work Share House by Bly Graham Architects. Spring Bay Mill Ridge Quarters by Gilby and Bruin Architecture. The House with Old Roots by The Mill Architecture and Design. Terrace House by Austin Maynard Architects. And The Hut 1 Passive House by Melbourne Design Studios, MDS.
An impressive field, and we have 4 announcements to make. A national award for sustainable architecture goes to Bundanon by Kirsten Thompson Architects.
Bundanon is a setting in which the visitor is always connected with function and place. Technologies and materials have been wonderfully curated to suit their purpose. Achieved within a tough context of bushfire ratings and local flood risk, this project is an exemplary demonstration of getting the basics right, with a strong grasp of passive design principles supported by appropriate technologies. Congratulations, Kirsten Thompson Architects.
And another national award for sustainable architecture is also presented to Spring Bay Mill Ridge Quarters by Gilby and Bruin Architecture. Sustainable.
Projects that help transition communities and remediate places formerly dependent on extractive businesses are key to creating the regenerative future we need. All site work was undertaken by a local builder, with the prefabricated units coming from northern Tasmania. This project not only contributes to a viable business venture in this once busy town, but the architect's approach furthers our transition towards sustainable living and ecological regeneration. Congratulations, Gilby and Bruin Architecture.
And the jury have awarded a 3rd national award for sustainable architecture to the Hut 01 Passive House by Melbourne Design Studios.
This certified passive house, packed with sustainable thinking, is an exceptionally crafted family home designed with enthusiasm and care. The architect's own home, it acts as a demonstration project for the value architects bring to minimise footprints while maximising sustainable livability. Congratulations, Melbourne Design Studios, MDS.
And the Bernsteins have right to celebrate because I followed this project for about 5 years, I think, and three weeks before they moved in, the house burnt down. And they had to rebuild it after living in a caravan for how long? 3 years? 4 years? 3 years? Great, incredible story. So well deserved, heartfelt for you. Well done. And so the highest honour that can be bestowed in this category, the named award, the David Oppenheim Award for Sustainable Architecture, goes to Live Work Share House by Bly Graham Architects.
Live Work Share House showcases replicable ideas that explore better ways for families to thrive in this particular part of the world. The planning, arrangement and construction of this home enables great flexibility in how it can be inhabited now and into the future. The house's spatial arrangements and connections can be easily altered in the future as life evolves. With its architecture joyfully responding to this agenda, this project ably shows that outer suburban blocks can be developed in ways that help to regenerate our communities and nature. Congratulations, Bly Graham Architects.
Well, we're a bit stunned, so very humbled and very honoured that our modest project has made it this far. And I guess we've been practiced 20 years this year on Diagram Architects, and I suppose also I'd like to thank all our past clients and collaborators, because this house is a sort of a synthesis, I suppose, of all that time and working together, working with other people, and I guess always believing that you've got to get the fundamentals right, and the first fundamental is just a well-designed, climatically responsive, sensibly put together building, which then is the foundation for all the other joy that can be made to work in the placemaking and the response to site. And so, you want to say something?
Well, it was an amazing opportunity to explore ideas that we've always wanted to test out, and sometimes you don't get those opportunities with clients. So to actually, explore that with our own house was a great opportunity to explore those ideas. So yeah, thank you so much. Very honoured.
And the next category is interior architecture, where the national jury shortlisted 7 projects. Let's have a look.
ANU Birch Building Refurbishment by Hassel. BVN Brisbane Studio by BVN. 60 Castlereagh Street by Ayetta Studio. The Wallara Hotel by Richard Stanisic. The Hedberg by Liminal Architecture with Woha. Penley and Essendon Grammar School Gymnasium by McBride Charles Ryan. And Queen and Collins by KTA and BVN.
The jury have awarded a national commendation for interior architecture to ANU Birch Building Refurbishment by Hassel, congratulations once again, Team Hassel. Gone out for a whatever. The jury has awarded a national award for interior architecture to the Hedberg by Liminal Architecture and Woha.
The Hedberg is a dexterous assembly of new performing and creative arts facilities whose interiors joyfully weave together its stories, spaces and programs. The interiors are enriched by the inclusion of artefacts and data reflecting the multi-layered history of the site and its buildings, including a fabulous foyer carpet designed by First Nations Tasmanian artist Michelle Maynard. Congratulations, Liminal Architecture with Woha.
And the highest honour in this category, the named award, the Emil Soderson Award for Interior Architecture, goes to BVN Brisbane Studio by BVN.
From the moment visitors arrive at the BVN Brisbane Studio, they become participants in a different way of working and being. This experimental approach to the inside of a standard office building, stemming from the practice's vision for the future of architecture, clearly demonstrates the benefits of different ways of being in the world, especially in an inner-city urban work environment. Congratulations, BVN.
You go, Glenn. Move along.
Thank you so much. This is such an honour for us. We all love being in our studio every day, and it's made a massive difference to us culturally. And to have this recognised by the Institute is just such an honour. Thank you so much. And I would also like to acknowledge we had many people in the studio who worked on this project and contributed to it. but in particular, I'd like to acknowledge Danica Nixon and Michelle Wren, both of whom their contributions made the project the success it is. Thank you very much. Thank you.
A big night for BVN. Very big night. And thank you, Caroline. The next category recognises projects which demonstrate outstanding and innovative use of steel, the ColourBond Award for Steel Architecture. And I'd like to invite Michelle Gissel from BlueScope to take Caroline's place on the other stage to say a few words and present the certificate to the award's winner.
Hello everybody. It is such a pleasure to be here. It's obviously been a long time since you've been able to meet each other, and for me it's been even longer. And it's lovely to see the joy in the room. ColourBond Steel is very proud of its long association with the AIA and with the awards generally, but this award particularly. This regular showcase of beautiful projects not only inspires, but for those working for ColourBond Steel, it fuels our desire to innovate as communities' expectations change and evolve. I congratulate all that have submitted projects into this category, as it's your creativity that transforms ColourBond Steel and steel itself into the extraordinary. So without further ado, let's take a look at the projects that are in the running for the 2022 National ColourBond Award.
Autumn House by Studio Bright. Finn Street House by Ben Walker Architects. Flinders University Modern Biodiversity Facility by H2O Architects and Phillips Pilkington, Architects in Association. Long Beach Amenities by Preston Lane. RFBYC Dinghy and Training Centre by MJA Studio. Ridgewood House by Robinson Architects. And The Foundry by Lead FJMT Studio, FJMT Studio and Sissons, Architects in Association to DA.
A great field of entrants across Australia there, and the national jury shortlisted 2 projects this year: The Foundry by Lead Architects FJM Studio, FJMT Studio and Sissons, Architects in Association to the development approval stage, and Autumn House Studio Bright. Congratulations to the project teams. So, without further ado, the 2022 ColourBond Award for Steel Architecture goes to The Foundry.
The Foundry celebrates the use of steel, embracing both its aesthetic qualities and structural possibilities. The exterior is restrained, clad in terracotta with steel-glazed framing, giving a simple, modulated expression to the hall, while internally, the scale of the 9,000-tonne steel structure is on full display and spectacular. It is a reminder of the aesthetic and functional power of steel, honestly expressed at every scale, from engineered large-span structures to smaller human-scale building elements, creating an architecture of enduring value and appeal. Congratulations, FJMT Studios and Sissons.
Thanks very much. We're still processing that lovely studio at BVN have in Brisbane, so I'm just working through it. Look, we probably need to just acknowledge the people who've gone before us and did those wonderful locomotive buildings out at South Everleigh and sort of showed us the sort of really fantastic things that steel can do. And we really took that as our inspiration for this building to try and look at those large repetitive bays and sort of the modular sort of things that can be done with steel and draw an inspiration from it. They try to do a workplace that's very much rooted in its place. And I just have to thank the team at Sissons that we worked with up to the DA stage, and Nick and Christian really helped us sort of keep it on track all the way through, in truth. And then also pay credit to this person beside me, Sonka, who knows every nut, bolt and rivet of that building like you wouldn't believe, and sort of really followed the clarity of the diagram to the very, very last day. So thank you.
Congratulations to the Foundry team, and thank you to BlueScope's Michelle Gissel. The next three categories cover residential architecture, and I'd like to welcome National Juror Poppy Taylor to the stage.
Thank you, Peter. Firstly, I would like to thank the Institute for the wonderful opportunity to be part of this year's national jury. It has been an absolute honour to travel the country visiting the excellent shortlisted projects. And my congratulations to all of you. The calibre of the work that we've experienced was inspiring. Housing presents a critical typology for our profession, and as a jury we noted clear directions. This year in particular, the category of alterations and additions is dense with high quality work. In the height of the country's current housing crisis, generosity remains key. Across the residential categories, we were heartened to visit projects that tackle the pressing matters of affordability and community with spatial sensitivity and care. There is a focus present in the following awarded projects which evidence a maturing and nuanced architectural generation. These works are backgrounded by an atmosphere of dedication, patience and tenacity. So now let's take a look at the 8 projects shortlisted in multiple housing category.
Ann Street Garden Villas by Anna O'Gorman Architect. Alexander and Albemarle by Cox Architecture. 231 Napier Street by Addition Office. Balfe Park Lane by Kirsten Thompson Architects. St Albans Housing by NMBW Architecture Studio in association with Monash Art, Design and Architecture, MARTA. Goulburn Street Housing by Cumulus. Newcastle East End Stage 1 by SJB, Durback Block Jaggers and Tonkin Zilika Greer. And Key Quarter Lanes 8 Loftus Street by Studio Bright.
We have 3 announcements to make in this category. A national commendation for multiple housing is awarded to St Albans Housing by NMBW Architecture Studio in association with Monash Design and Architecture. Congratulations to the team. A national award for multiple housing is awarded to Ann Street Garden Villas by Anna O'Gorman Architect.
The brief for this project was to enable residents to be a good neighbour by creating opportunities to socialise while also respecting the privacy and space of fellow residents. Each design element used has a duality that responds to the social, climatic, safety and individual needs of residents. And the jury was impressed by the consideration of privacy, personalisation, access and connection, which provide a sense of both independence and also community. Congratulations, Anna O'Gorman Architect.
And the highest honour in this category, the named award, the Frederick Romberg Award for Residential Architecture, Multiple Housing, goes to Key Quarter Lanes, 8 Loftus Street by Studio Bright.
Part of a regenerated inner city precinct, 8 Loftus Street is a masterful urban housing proposition. Works of this clarity are rare and cannot be executed without unusual dedication, patience and tenacity. Commensurate quality is often only achieved in the domestic realm. Studio Bright has stepped out of this private sphere and into the civic scale without diluting its care and attention to the craft of making buildings. Everything about this project is responsive, considered and resolved, making it deserving of this highest recognition. Congratulations, Studio Bright.
This is such a big deal for a little practice from Melbourne who really did backyard alts and ads when we got asked to do this project in 2014 by AMP Capital. I thought they were calling me to sell me insurance at the time. Anyway, it really is massive. Thank you so much to the jury. It means so much to us. I really also would like to thank our greater collaboration team. We could not have done any of this, as you know, without you. SJB, Sylvester Fuller, Carter Williamson, Lippman Partnership, Aspect Studios, and Jonathan Jones for the incredible gift of the artwork in our arcade. Thank you so much. Em's going to correct me if I've forgotten anything. Wow, it's just incredible. It's just the hugest honour. Hi to my kids if you're watching. Thank you.
And it also really underscores the importance of the Emerging Architecture Prize, which Mel was the recipient of. 2013, Mel? Yeah. So, what a great initiative to give young practices a leg up to take a building like that on. So, great initiative by the Institute to invent that award category. Yeah. And moving on to the category of residential architecture, houses new. There are 8 projects shortlisted by the national jury.
Curl House by Trias. Stable House by Sibling Architecture. Corner House by Archia. Jimmy's House by MJA Studio with Studio Rome and Iota. Live Work Share House by Bly Graham Architects. And Maze Point House by Tanner Architects.
The jury have awarded a national commendation for residential architecture, houses new, to Corner House by Archia. Congratulations, Archia. A national award for residential architecture, houses new, goes to Curl House by Trias.
This incredibly cohesive design is the beautiful resolution of a very clear and successful design strategy. Bookended by private quarters at either end is an elegant family space of kitchen and dining, completely connected to the garden. A refrained palette of materials is masterfully detailed, and deep reveals conceal the complexity of sliding glazing, screening and blinds that enable spaces to respond sensitively to the climate. Congratulations, Trias.
And a second national award for residential architecture, houses new, is also awarded to Jimmy's House by MJA Studio, with Studio Rome and Iota.
This exceptional house places conceptual and programmatic aspirations on equal footing with broader agendas: neighbourhood generosity, environmental performance and biodiversity. Configured around a courtyard, the project embodies passive environmental performance, creates more landscaped area than that of its site, and sustains a sociable dialogue with its neighbours in both form and materiality. The jury applauds this project as an exemplary approach to small-scale infill development. Congratulations, MJA Studio with Studio Rome and Iota.
Moving on to residential architecture, alterations and additions, and there are 8 projects shortlisted by the national jury.
Cascade House by John Elway. Currumbin Waters House by Nielsen Jenkins. Fusilier Cottage by Bence Mulcahy. Higham Roadhouse by Philip Stayskill Architecture. North Bondi House by Anthony Gill Architects. Autumn House by Studio Bright. Arcadia by Architecture. And Stable and Cut House by Claire Cousins Architects.
A big category here, 6 announcements. A national commendation for residential architecture, Alts and Ads, is awarded to Currumbin Waters House by Nielsen Jenkins. Congratulations. A national award for Alts and Ads goes to Cascade House by John Elway.
This project demonstrates the way in which modest and highly disciplined interventions can yield generous and joyful outcomes. The new and old are anchored around a courtyard, with the roofline kept low, while interventions to the cottage are minimised, respecting the existing fabric and street connection. This is a wonderful example of how good design can benefit not only the owners, but also the neighbourhood. Congratulations, John Elway.
A second national award for alterations and additions is also presented to Fusilier Cottage by Bence Mulcahy.
This alteration to Fusilier's cottage is a sensitively placed, contemporary lean-to. Here, the garden room extension offers a new condition. The occupants can still enjoy the enclosed feeling of the cottage, but they can also open their home via sliding screens and glazed doors to connect with the passing traffic of tourists, locals and slow-moving vehicles. Congratulations, Bence Mulcahy.
The third national award for alterations and additions goes to Stable and Cart House by Claire Cousins Architects.
This historic stable building conversion embraces the patina and history of the past century of continual use. Initiated by a passionate client, brought to life by an abundantly skilled architect, and then realised by a committed builder, a pattern of simplicity, coupled with complexity, is repeated throughout the resolution of the design. Congratulations, Claire Cousins Architects.
And a fourth national award for alterations and additions is also presented to Claire's best mate, Studio Bright for Autumn House.
A carefully considered negotiation across different scales, Autumn House weaves together architectural histories and suburban streetscapes, with great attention given to the tactility of materials. Deliberate moves honour the original Victorian terrace and the later extension, while allowing the addition to breathe new vitality into the home. Congratulations, Studio Bright.
And the highest honour in this category, the named award, the Eleanor Cullis Hill Award for Residential Architecture, Alterations and Additions, goes to Arcadia by Architecture.
While the original double-fronted weatherboard remains in the streetscape like a familiar friend, the additions of this cottage carve out the plan, revealing courtyards and small-scaled rooms of green-filled wonder. Stone paving blurs the lines between inside and out, clinging closely to the pink pigment of the softly rendered bricks. Arcadia leads us joyfully into an apparent golden age of additions and alterations, a term that seemingly undersells architecture of this quality. Congratulations, Architecture.
I was really banking on not getting this. guess this is imposter syndrome. There are so many incredible projects in this category. I wouldn't have liked to have been on the jury trying to separate them, but we're incredibly honoured to be receiving it. This project started out with really a beautifully written client brief, and all credit goes to our clients for the effort they put into putting that together, because we really followed it like a treasure map. To Angus Hamilton from our office, project architect, who really just gave it everything and did an incredible job delivering it. We had an incredible builder in Moon Building Group, and also the foreman, Mo Jarvis, who just had such an attention to detail. And without these teams, architecture doesn't happen. So thanks to everyone involved, thanks to the jury, and well done everyone tonight. Thank you.
Congratulations, Architect to Architecture, and thanks to juror Poppy Taylor. So, moving on to the final category, Public Architecture and the prestigious Sir Zelman Cowan Award. Please welcome back to the stage National Jury Chair, Tony Gioni. And whilst Tony is getting settled, let's have a look at the 10 projects shortlisted by the jury in the category of public architecture.
Shepparton Art Museum by Denton Corker Marshall. Victorian Pride Centre by Brearley Architects and Urbanists and Grant Amon Architects. Hota Gallery by ARM Architecture. New Farm Neighbourhood Centre by Vokes and Peters with Susanna and Nicholas. Bundanon by Kirsten Thompson Architects. Kings Langley Cricket Club and Amenities by Ewan Lewis Architects. Walsh Bay Arts Precinct by Tonkin Zilika Greer Architects. Mount Gambier Regional Airport by Ashley Halliday Architects. The Hedberg by Liminal Architecture with Woha. And Walyulup Civic Centre by Kerry Hill Architects.
And the jury have awarded 2 national commendations for public architecture to New Farm Neighbourhood Centre by Volks Peters with Susanna and Nicholas. The second commendation, Kings Langley Cricket Club and Amenities by Ewan Lewis Architects. Congratulations to the teams. A national award for public architecture goes to Walsh Bay Arts Precinct by Tonkin Zilika Greer Architects.
Walsh Bay Arts Precinct has created a wealth of arts and cultural spaces from a much-loved piece of public infrastructure. The project masterfully integrates new structural, building code and audio and visual requirements into an old structure, which was the antithesis of fit for purpose. The jury congratulates the project team and all involved for this impressive addition to Sydney's cultural life. Congratulations, Tonkin Zilika Greer Architects.
A second national award for public architecture also goes to Walyulup Civic Centre by Kerry Hill Architects, KHA.
Through a series of carefully considered historical, social, material and formal references, Walyulup Civic Centre responds to and addresses its surrounding context by establishing a clear language reflective of its civic function. The building encourages and reinforces public engagement through the integration of a community lawn, sunken gardens, transparency and permeability. The jury applauds this project, which celebrates the notion of democracy and invites the community deep within the central functions of the building. Congratulations, Kerry Hill Architects.
And the jury have awarded a third national award for public architecture to Victorian Pride Centre by Brearley Architects and Urbanists and Grant Amon Architects.
The Victorian Pride Centre is a government-funded centre for the nation's LGBTIQ+ communities, a new public building and the first of its type in Australia. It is a place to honour and celebrate the past and to shape the future. The architect's concept echoes through the building, enlivening and providing drama throughout the internal spaces. This is most evident in the central ellipsoid-shaped, light-filled atrium, where the shell of this space is dramatically and unexpectedly sculptured. The jury applauds this project as a wonderful place of gathering and a thoughtful symbol of the ongoing struggle towards equality, diversity and inclusion. Congratulations, Brearley Architects and Urbanists and Grant Amon Architects.
And now over to you, Tony, for the final announcement.
It's a great honour and a privilege to actually do this, and as jury chair, and also I think sort of one of my last official roles is sort of communicating with the Institute in terms of ex-presidents. But this year, the Sir Zimmerman Cowan Award for Public Architecture, I'm pleased to announce, is bundled on Kirsten Thompson.
In what is becoming a reference for the holy grail of Australian architecture, Bundanon adds to the next chapter of the Arthur and Yvonne Boyd estate. With a vision of supporting art, visitation, accommodation and design education, the new museum and bridge respond to the site's natural and cultural landscape with practicality and instinct. Bundanon is a layered work that has been sensitively handled and respects the original vision for the estate. Congratulations, Kirsten Thompson Architects.
Can I please get Sam? There's a roll call. Sam, up here. Deb. Anne, where are you? Don't do a runner already. Come on up. And Pierce and Stuart. Adco, you know where you are. Come up. This is really, really massive. We're really sort of overwhelmed. Thank you to the jury. I just want to say there's a few thank yous, and I forgot my glasses. I've only got my sunnies, so I can't read any notes. So I want to, first of all, thank an amazing initial board members, and Deb, Ellie as our early client, Anne Flanagan and Sam as phenomenal board members. Pierce, I'm going to go by people I can see. Pierce Brennan, who was just phenomenal on site from ADCO. These projects take a lot of wrangling and effort, and in the middle of COVID, online, on Teams, it was really, really hard work, I think we'll all say, but we got there, so thank you. I also just want to say Rachel Kent, now CEO of Bundanon as well, a really lovely new friendship from this project. And an amazing team, Lloyd McCarthy, who just was so diligent and relentless on this project. Thank you. It was... Pleasure. You might want to say something. Yeah. And Kelly Mackay, who has been the most phenomenal part of KTA for 18 years. And I think it's fair to say that a project like this takes a lot from an office, not just the team that's immediately on it, but everyone else feels it every single day. And this was a project we lived for 7 years. So, yes, 6 years. So I also want to call out Brian Zalika. There's a couple of people who, and John Denton too, who were early mentors, if you like, and people I talked to during this project that was really important. So I don't know if anyone else would like to say any words. No? Well done. might have forgotten something, but yeah, thanks.
Tony, would you like any more words before you sail off into the sunset?
This is the impromptu bit, isn't it? Look, not really. Look, it's just been a great honour and a privilege, I think, to serve the Institute as well. This is sort of a great culmination of sort of my tenure, although I've still got one duty back in Venice, which is a date from 4 years ago, which will sort of happen. But apart from that, look, congratulations to everybody. I think on behalf of the jury, the work was exceptional. There will be some probably controversy with the Robin Boyd Award not being announced, but I'll leave that one there. And well, we'll just sort of preempt what's going to happen after this anyway. But in regard, I suppose we do have a commitment in terms of what we do and, you know, through our lens and everything else we do. So thank you once again. We're in good hands, I think, with our profession and the work we're doing. And I've got to say that alterations and additions category was just mind-blowing in terms of just like putting it that. But that's also a reflection of where the world is at the moment. And look, thank you. Thanks, Peter.
And that brings the 2022 National Architecture Awards to a close. I'd like to congratulate all the winners this evening, your clients and collaborators, and everyone involved in these exceptional projects. Thank you once again to the national corporate partners, Bondor Matecno, and I got the pronunciation right this time, Bluescope, Taubman, Smeg, Dulux, Allspec Brickworks, Bondor Matecno, just again, Lysart Fielders, Bosch, Plan Cover, and Architecture Milieu. Thank you so much. Don't forget to collect your complimentary copies of Architecture Australia and Wish magazines. They'll be available outside. Food and drinks are about to be served upstairs. If you follow the stairs that you came in on, past the Monsteria Deliciosa, you'll find your way upstairs. I hope you all have a good evening and thank you.